In this hand, I got dealt a very nice starting hand in the bring-in. 4-5-2 all suited, only one diamond out. Ali's going to open under the gun, Ted Forrest is going to call, and Michael Savanov's going to raise. Now, there's a few different things when it comes back to me. I can either flat and maybe let everyone in, or I can re-raise and try and isolate. And certainly I'm going to want to be playing a big pot here. So when you have these low 3-suited hands, you should be inclined to kind of keep people in situations like this. So if I start to catch well, and Ali starts to catch well, and Ted Forrest is in with a high hand, we might be able to start jamming. But in the live tournaments, one of the other things to consider is that people aren't often re-raising without some sort of high hand. So Savinov has actually been playing pretty tight, so he might have either kings or aces in the hole here to be making this raise. You won't see a lot of people re-raising something like ace-2-5 in this spot. Some of the more aggressive players will, but typically you really don't see that in these tournaments. So if in fact he does have a buried high hand, it's really not advantageous for me to re-raise this and get this heads up. Now, if he is an aggressive player or very loose and his range could be pretty wide here and isn't limited to kings and aces in the hole or near that, then you are in a great spot because you can re-raise, might be able to isolate and fold out the jack and the 7, and then you can play a pretty big heads-up pot. At this point, the limits were 25,000, 50,000 with $10,000 bring-in and a $5,000 ante. So really a lot of money in this pot, and ordinarily I wouldn't mind going ahead and isolating, and I actually did that here. Not so sure I like that play, given how tight Savanov's range probably is in this spot, but depending on the players, there may be a good chance that everyone comes in, and if everyone comes in, that's kind of the best situation of all. So if you feel that there is a chance that that might happen, then your raise here is kind of for value and people will call too cold. That's going to depend a lot more on table dynamics, though. So it's something you really have to be paying attention to. But flatting here and letting everyone else come in is often a good situation. And as far as your immediate equity here, you don't necessarily gain a whole lot of equity if you are up against only kings or aces here. So if you assign Ali, fairly tight range, ace and a low, 2 cards under 7, pair of 7s here, I'm going to assume Ted has jacks, flatting jacks here. I suppose he could have a 3 flush, but I'm not sure if he would play that in this situation. So, given that sort of range, if you're up against only kings or aces in the hole, you've got about 37% equity, but if you get a heads up against that hand, you really only gain 13% and get it up to 49% equity, whereas the kings or the aces really benefits a lot, going from 24% all the way up to 51% and is a bit of a favorite over you.